good morning, good evening, wherever the sun may find you. My name is Walt, and this is Coffee and Concepts on Keystroke Medium. Josh Hayes is saying, hey. Josh is our show boss. He runs Keystroke Medium, a forum for writers and readers to engage with each other and kind of glean on the tips and tricks to William Joseph Roberts saying Ranger Panties. You'll see in a minute. I'm working my way there.
Oh, wow. I should have wore those for the interview.
No. When you ran out of the room, I was like, holy God, Nick's not wearing pants. William Joseph Roberts saying, what's up, Walt? Hey, bud. We have my longtime friend and brother from another mother, Nick Garber, who has been on some of the other podcasts that I frequent here and there. We have Lauren Moore. Got my coffee, still going strong. What's up, Lauren? Lauren is editor extraordinaire and part of the trio of excellent editors in No Safe Words, LLC. And let me tell you, if you screw it up, she'll cut you. Maybe it's Ellen that'll cut you and she'll heal you. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, somebody's getting cut. So Nick and I stomped on in some of the same mud and shed some of the same blood together. So, we have, whenever there's a need for one to talk about something, we have a tendency to gravitate to each other and then get into copious amounts of trouble online, of which they're usually recorded. So they're there for posterity. With us, joining us today is Nick Gibson. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. You got the Nick and Nick, double the Nick, double the fun.
You're right on. I seem to be collecting Nicks lately, so
I'll have a menagerie of Nicks.
Yeah,
you might want to use that wood filler if that's the case.
It's the Nick and Dent show. So before we get into our preferred topic for today, you guys drinking coffee or are you going something different?
I'm drinking air. I'm drinking a healthy supply of air right now. So
yeah, it depends on where you are. That might not be so healthy. Nick, what are you drinking?
Black Rifle Coffee Company, AK-47.
Oh, nice. I like AK-47. It's got a slightly sweet finish, and it's got that bite because it's got a good acidity to it.
Yeah, you don't have to put Jameson in it.
But is there?
There's Jameson in it, yes.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going with an Ethiopian blend for this one. I wanted something a little sweet and tangy, and usually an Ethiopian coffee has almost like a blueberry taste at the end.
Yes. I'm learning this stuff because I didn't used to be a coffee snob or a connoisseur. I kind of just stuck to one beverage. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a whiskey snob.
Right on.
But I need something in the morning because they frown on you being intoxicated at work. So,
especially when you guys have firearms. So,
yeah, it's highly frowned upon. So I don't do it.
Yep, judicious marksmanship is always appreciated. So, in answer to William Joseph Roberts' question, Ranger Panties, some of the units that Nick and I have served and worked in. We have a slightly, or had, because now I think everybody wants them or has them or whatever. We had a slightly different dress code for physical training. So our exercises in the morning, part of that was a very silky set of shorts emblazoned with the logo of our unit on the left leg. They were jokingly always referred to as Ranger Panties because of the silky, swishy nature. That, despite what they look like and despite what you might think, they are very, very comfortable. And
they are.
Yeah, you'd start like hanging out with somebody, and she would be like, "Oh, those look nice," and suddenly you'd lose like 9 pairs. Have to go to the PX. Yeah, it was no fun. So with our coffee portion kind of mixed, managed, and handled, let's talk a little bit about our concept today. We know that from the live show that airs on Monday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, some of the guys are getting into, especially Josh is getting into script writing. So you guys have a project that's currently on Indiegogo that requires script writing versus long form. What's your technique to script writing? Do you guys write a tight, succinct script, or do you go Marvel style, which is very loose, like insert fight here?
Well, as me being the scriptwriter, I'm the one qualified for this answer. For me, I do write a full-on script. I try to leave the descriptions like, basically, this is what's going on. Maybe I'd have like, okay, they have this expression here, but I do try to leave it as open as possible for the artist's interpretation. My opinion is like, I'm hiring an artist. They know what the heck they're doing. So why not just trust them to do their job? Obviously, I have dialogue and whatnot. I break it down panel and page. Every script basically kind of starts like with an outline. It's kind of like something I'm working on right now.
Right now, our show boss Josh is probably like needing a moment alone because he loves outlining. And any time somebody breaks out paper, he's like, "Yes!"
Yeah. So basically, this is kind of like for something I'm working on, Werewolves and whatnot. Basically, what I do is I do outlines for the first story arc. Because what I've found is when I write a first issue, it's the first issue, but I'm like, I have no clue where to go from here. So I usually write out the first story arc, and then, because usually at the end of the first story arc, it's like, okay, now I know where things are going, characters are more established and whatnot. So, so it's like I do the outlines for the story arc first, and then I put it into script form and whatnot, and then obviously you do the editing from there.
Not gonna lie, that the scrawl that's on that page looks like tortured artist right.
I have very bad handwriting. This stuff is usually for my eyes only. So
I gotcha.
Refined, cleaned up, typed up later.
Right on.
Yeah, that's why computers are a blessing.
Awesome.
I can see you shivering with anticipation.
Nick, when you get a script from somebody, what do you look for in your scripts? Do you prefer a tighter script, or do you like the freedom to kind of mess around and play?
I like kind of a mixed bag, but I'm able to do both. There are some writers that I've worked with that have a very specific vision and a very specific scope of how they want things to look. Nick's really not an exception to that. He's given me very specific examples of how he wanted it as far as look and tone. But he does give me a little bit of wiggle room where to play around with and put like my own interpretation of the script into the pages.
Plus, I'm always open to suggestion.
Yeah, and if I have any questions or I have any suggestions, I go right to him like, hey man, I was thinking about this. What do you think? And he'll either give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where the good idea comes from. Good idea is a good idea, because it kind of reminds you of this one story where Rod Serling, the guy from the Twilight Zone, was at a party, and some random person just walked up to him and says like, "Hey, what if these astronauts landed in the desert? They thought it was Mars, but it was actually Earth." He reached into his wallet and gave the woman $400 right then and there, and that became the episode "I Shot an Arrow into the Air." And that's the only time Rod Serling ever did that kind of thing. But good ideas are good ideas. Doesn't matter who. Yeah.
Right on. Where did you get that from?
Rod Serling biography.
Oh, right on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a Rod Serling biography. Yeah, there's a Rod Serling biography. It's actually really good. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm a really big student of his. So.
Right on. Yeah, well, this is why we have Google. So
true.
Mr. Garber, just so I don't keep saying Nick and you guys have to guess. When somebody gives you a script and for something like your current project, especially something that is very heavy on a certain feel or tone, do you look for those notes in a script when you're drawing a book, or do you kind of like branch out and just say, oh no, I can make things up and submit it back for approval?
Oh no, I do a lot of research. So I took this project on because it's outside of my usual wheelhouse of capes and cowls and superheroes and stuff like that. So the samurai feudal Japan theme going into this cyberpunk environment later on in the book, I was like, okay, those are two things I know absolutely nothing about. So Google is my friend. So I went on Google and I I just started absorbing as much information as I could. Really, the most important thing was making sure that the armor was accurate to the time period. So, but then I realized that there was like 9 different time periods in like feudal Japan. I'm like, oh crap, which one? Okay, it's a fantasy story. We're gonna hodgepodge.
Yeah, it was kind of the intention. So Nick,
we're going to build a samurai here. So hopefully I don't offend anybody by doing that, but it did make for a very cool unified look. But
so you went to build a samurai in the mall and made one of your own?
If they actually make one of those shops, I get 50%. Because I did it right now. I just came up with it. I just gave you $1 million idea.
For God, no, please no. Because I've actually worn Yoroi, and to see what like some anime fanboy would do to the armor. The
sword is 20 feet long.
Oh God, no!
It's bigger than my car.
This is the project that you guys have going on right now. It's 2100 Samurai from your studio, and I like the tagline. Let's face it, the future is fragged. Of course, we all know what that really spells. But I think it's got a neat aesthetic because you guys are mixing cyberpunk and like almost like Sengoku style samurai. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Like, yeah, so one of the like the tenets of Turn Samurai is like old meets new. Kind of like you kind of have like that Captain America kind of thing where it's like, the man out of time. I'm from this period, but now I'm from like an entirely different era, and like how do I reconcile my values with the current values? Like, what should I adapt? What should I hold on to? Which is kind of, in my opinion, kind of like the central kind of thing about Captain America that makes him really interesting. Like, he's from the 40s, and he's in the year 20, whatever time they choose to thaw him out in, and he's like, he's like, there's this line from Coulson in the Avengers where he said sometimes people might need a little old fashioned. So it's like old school honor with like new school pragmatism, so to speak.
Right on. And what's the central story behind 2100 Samurai?
Basically, you have this man named Kiro, and his fiancee Mishi, and they're in like a fictional province of Japan called Songor. It's a fictional fantasy province and whatnot. And they're both samurai. And one day a portal opens up in their village. They travel through it. The portal kind of gives them abilities like jumping, reaction, kind of like Matrix powers to an extent. And they wind up in this dystopian future. And then one of them gets killed in the first issue, one of the two. And the other must, live on in this world that is alien to them. They meet some friends, they kind of establish themselves, and it's just kind of just making a new life, really.
Right on. What was that like for you to draw, Nick?
It was pretty cool. Drawing stuff from that time period was a challenge. I had to do a lot of research on that because there's a lot of intricate details, and I did the best I could. And perspective is one of my weak spots. So when I'm having to go with like rural type stuff, I cheat a little bit and throw a lot of trees and bushes in there. Because it's not stuff I can do with a ruler. So I found a way to make it work.
When in doubt, tree it out.
Yeah, like I was always told in the military, find a way to win. So that's what I did. And then when we start, I'm into the pages now where I'm in this dystopian future. So I was watching Blade Runner. I was Matrix. I was just absorbing some of that type of stuff.
I gave him homework.
Yeah, there was homework with this. So, but that's all stuff I can achieve through just simple geometry and a ruler and vanishing points and things like that. So it was really fun to draw. Like I said, it was one of the reasons I took this gig was I liked the story and I liked how it was really gonna like stretch some of my creative muscles and my artistic muscles.
Right on. So we're you guys have already met your flexible funding goal on Indiegogo, and are we looking at an issue 2? Is there plans to continue the story. What are
He's
we talking?
contracted for 3 issues, so yes.
Yeah, he's got me locked in.
Right on. Anthony Joseph saying, "I dig that art." Who did that first variant cover?
Oh, that is actually a very good question. So the first variant cover, which I assume is like the yellowish one, which is actually a tribute to Seven Samurai. That was done by Project Axis artist Jason Johnson. Because Nick did a cover for Project Axis. Project Axis is my other comic that's already been published and already been kickstarted. Crap, the comic is like just out of my reach.
That's all good.
And so Jason Johnson did the cover for that. And then it was colored by Twin Samurai artist Kitty Pierce.
Right on. That's awesome. Hey, thanks for the question, Anthony Joseph.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
So, aside from this, where else can people find your work, and what have you done?
Like I just mentioned, I've also done the comic Project Axis. I'm the writer on both of them. And then we also have our social medias. Like my Twitter tag is on my nameplate. You can also find us on Instagram at the.phoenix.press. Phoenix Press is the name of the company. Facebook at Project Access. That's kind of like a Facebook won't let me change the name, so I'm kind of stuck with kind of like a mixture of Phoenix Press, Project Access. I'm talking too much.
No, it's all good, man. No, people need to know where to stalk you so they can get your stuff.
That's
right.
Yeah,
stock away. Just don't send me any homemade cakes. Package, sure, but homemade.
I don't want to know.
Exactly. I'm afraid to ask about.
Mr. Garber, where can people stalk you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Nick Garber Art. You could also find my company, Apogee Comics, at Apogee Comics on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Also, Nick Garber Art on Facebook as well.
Right on, man. So just want to mention to everybody that, we're very grateful. Keystroke Medium is very grateful for all the likes and subscribes that you guys help us push over 1,000 so we can bring you even more content. Hell yeah. Very, very cool. More subscribers equals more coffee.
Right.
And then we can bring in more people like the Nick and Nick show so that they can talk about the cool stuff. We have Keystroke Medium live on 11 a.m. Eastern on a Monday. The Writer's Journey on Thursday nights with Lauren and Kayleen. That's 9 p.m. Eastern. Normally, Coffee and Concepts at 7:30 a.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. But this week we did 2 shows, and we didn't do them on Tuesday just to mess with everybody. But going forward, we always try and hit that Tuesday target, unless guys like Nick and Nick. It would have been funnier if I could have just said Nick.
Stay on target.
Yeah.
Stay on target.
But then it always helps to chase somebody who can appear on the show, and if we have to dodge a time slot, then we'll do that as well. Long form storytelling on YouTube with Josh Gayu, where they dissect deep into their topics. We also are launching a coffee line, if you don't know, with such great blends as Light on Story, The Roast of Doom, and Writer's Block. So please go to keystrokemedium.com or the Keystroke Medium Facebook page and chase that as well. Guys, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure.
Well, pleasure to be out here.
Cool. And we'll catch you next time for a little reading, writing, and everything in between on Keystroke Medium.